The gavel hit the wood before the girl even realized what had happened. Her wrists burned where the ropes had cut, but she didn't move. The auctioneer's voice crackled through the room, high and jagged. 200. A man near the front snorted. She don't even talk. Waste of coin. Another voice barked, 300. She ain't livestock, someone muttered. 4. The crowd's laughter sharpened, echoing off the bare walls, but she stayed silent. She didn't look up. She couldn't. The smell of sweat and hay and dust pressed against her, thick and suffocating. For 50, the auctioneer added. Final bids, gentlemen. Silence waited like a blade above her head. Then the rancher stepped forward. His boots thudded against the floorboards. 500. And that's the end of it. The room froze. Men glanced at him, some smirking, some frowning. The sheriff leaned back against the wall, hands tucked into his belt, eyes cold. Didn't know you were buying daughters now, he said, voice low, mocking. I ain't buying. I'm stopping, the rancher replied flat, each word a hammer. The auctioneer blinked. Sir? The rancher repeated it, slower this time. I am. Stopping. It's. His eyes met hers briefly. She flinched, but didn't speak. The sheriff's smirk widened. You know you can't just walk out with her, he said. She ain't yours. Not yet, he said, voice tight, and stepped closer to the block. The girl's hands were bruised, palms red, fingers trembling. She whispered, barely audible. Why? He didn't answer right away. His coat hung over his shoulders, heavy and smelling of leather and smoke. He bent down and draped it around her. Because no one else did, he said. Her eyes blinked against the harsh light. She pulled it tight around her small frame. You don't know me. I don't need to, he said. He untied her wrists slowly, deliberately, so she could feel control return in small increments. She rubbed her skin raw, shivering. The men in the room muttered. She's shaking. Let her, he said. The sheriff's lips tightened. You'll pay for this, he said, voice low, dangerous. The rancher's gaze didn't move. I already did. He lifted her down from the block. Her feet hit the floor with a soft thud. The dust of the auction house rose in tiny clouds around them. She stayed close, glancing at him only once. Where are you taking me? She whispered. Anywhere but here, he said. Outside, the air was sharp with the sting of early spring. They walked to his horse. She hesitated. I don't know how, she said. Then you learn. The rancher mounted first and held a hand for her. She climbed slowly, legs stiff, eyes wide. The sheriff stepped onto the porch, watching. Don't think you can outrun what you stirred, he said. The rancher swung the reins. We're not outrunning. We're leaving. The dirt road stretched out under their feet, the town behind them quiet now, murmurs of disbelief still lingering. She pressed her back against him, smaller than she seemed, fragile in the way all broken things are. Do you always do this? She asked. Save girls? No, he said. I just couldn't stand to watch her die. She glanced back at the auction house. The gavel, the crowd, the men laughing. Her lips pressed together. I'm nothing, she said. Then we start there, he said. He didn't promise her safety, but he promised her presence. The horse's hooves drummed against the earth. Silence came with them, but it wasn't empty. It was expectant, heavy with questions neither could answer. As the ranch came into view, the barn loomed blackened and broken at the edge of the property. Charred beams jutted skyward like fingers. She flinched. What happened there? She asked softly. Fire remembers what men forget, he said. The wind carried the scent of smoke and ash, and she breathed it in cautiously, almost tasting the past. Her small hand reached for his sleeve. "Are we safe?" he asked. She didn't answer. She never did at first. The rancher's coat slipped from his shoulder as he dismounted. She followed quietly, her boots scuffing against the dirt, every step hesitant. Inside the house, the air smelled of wood polish and something older, a memory that didn't quite belong. A single chair sat at the table, dustless, untouched. She stopped. "Who sits there?" she asked. "No one," he said. "Then why keep it?" "Because she did," he replied. Her gaze moved from the chair to the walls, the old photographs, the remnants of a family she'd never known. Her body relaxed just slightly. The gavel, the ropes, the auction, they existed outside the walls now. He put a plate of food in front of her. She stared at it. "Eat," he said. She picked at it, small bites, careful. Each chew was a step into a new life, the first she'd been given of her own choice. Evenings settled over the ranch in quiet waves. She sat in the chair, the coat draped across her shoulders, feeling the weight of the world ease in fractions. "I don't understand why," she said finally, voice breaking. "You shouldn't," he said. "You just need to know someone did." Outside, the wind rustled the remains of the barn. He watched her, silent, letting the night hold them both in uneasy truce. The dirt road stretched under the dimming sun, the horses' hooves throwing up small clouds of dust. She sat stiff, arms crossed, knees tight against the saddle. His hands gripped the reins, steady and calm, but his eyes flicked to her every few seconds. "You're quiet," he said. Her jaw tightened. "I don't talk to men like you." "You'll have to, if you plan to live." She shifted, trying to make herself smaller, invisible. "I'm not invisible," he said, voice low. "You're pretending." They passed the creek that cut through the low hills. The water ran slow, murky, reflecting the red sky. She glanced down, then back up, voice tight. "Where are we going?" "Anywhere but here," he repeated. "I can't stay there," she said, nodding toward the town behind them. "You're not staying there," he said. His voice didn't demand. It stated. She swallowed, feeling the weight of his certainty. "I don't have a name," she said suddenly, whispering, as if saying it aloud might make it true. "Then I'll wait," he said. Silence followed, heavy and patient. The sheriff's office had been a shadow at the edge of town, but here, away from men like that, she felt some of the tightness in her chest loosen. The horse slowed as they crested the hill. She tugged at his sleeve. "Why did you stop them?" He didn't answer immediately. He let the wind carry the question away first. "Because no one else did," he finally said. "Your turn," she said, voice cracking. "My turn for what?" "To tell me who I am supposed to be." He shook his head. "You decide that. Nobody else ever has." The road narrowed. The trees closed in, low limbs brushing the saddle, snapping against her coat. She flinched. "Don't touch me," she said. He tightened his grip on the reins but didn't say anything. They rode like that for a while, side by side in silence, the only sound the scrape of branches and the steady beat of the horse's hooves. "You think you can teach me?" she asked finally. "I don't teach. I show. You do the rest." She looked at him, trying to read what he meant. "I'll fail," she said. "Then fail. You'll rise again." His eyes met hers, firm and unyielding. "Do you know what that means?" she asked. "I'll learn," she said. By the time the ranch came into view, the burned barn shadowed the horizon like a dark memory. She stiffened. "What happened there?" she asked. "Fire remembers what men forget," he said. She didn't respond immediately. Her gaze lingered on the blackened timbers. Every charred beam told a story she didn't want to hear. "I'm scared," she admitted quietly. "Good," he said, almost a whisper. "Fear keeps you alive." The porch creaked under his boots as he dismounted. She hesitated, staring at the threshold. "Come on," he said. "I can't," she said. "Then we wait," he said. "Forever?" she asked, breathless. "If we have to," he replied. She let her hand brush the weathered wood. Dust rose, and the scent of old pine and smoke hit her. The house was silent, heavy with the memory of someone else's life. "You live here alone?" she asked. "No one lives alone who's worth anything," he said. She frowned, puzzled, searching for the meaning in his words. Inside, the air smelled of polish and ash, the table set with a single, dustless chair at the head. Her gaze was drawn there. "Who sits there?" she asked. "No one," he said. "Then why keep it?" "Because she did," he said, voice taut with memory. She moved closer, touching the chair with trembling fingers. "Who?" she asked. "Someone I lost," he said, eyes dark. She looked around at the house, at the shelves lined with books, bottles, remnants of life frozen in place. The air pressed against her, heavy with secrets. "I don't want to stay," she said. "I don't make you," he said. "But you will." He placed a plate of food in front of her. She stared down, picking at it, hesitant, unsure. "Eat," he said. She took a bite, then another, small movements, deliberate. The silence wasn't empty, it was the beginning of something new. She glanced up, eyes wary. "Do you ever talk about her?" she asked. "Sometimes," he said. "But talking won't bring her back." She nodded slowly, understanding without fully understanding. The shadows in the room shifted as evening crept in. Outside, the wind rustled the charred remains of the barn, whispering a reminder that the past was always close. She settled into the empty chair finally, coat wrapped around her small frame. "I don't understand why you saved me," she said. "You shouldn't," he said. "You just need to know someone did." She swallowed hard, eyes fixed on the floorboards. He watched her quietly, letting her take the weight of the world in measured pieces. The night pressed in from the windows, still, patient, holding them both in uneasy truce. For the first time, she felt a tiny fraction of something unfamiliar, safety. She sat in the chair, coat still heavy on her shoulders, and traced the edge of the seat with her fingers. The wood was smooth, worn by years of use, yet untouched somehow, preserved. She looked up. "Who sits there?" she asked. He didn't answer immediately. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, eyes dark. "No one," he said. "Then why keep it?" she pressed, voice small, curious, wary. "Because she did," he said. The words fell like stones into the quiet room. She stiffened, sensing the weight behind them. The air seemed to hold its breath. She stood, stepping around the table, fingers brushing the shelves, the old photographs, the bottles of liquor long corked and forgotten. She paused at a frame, a girl about her age, smiling faintly, hair in loose curls. "Who is she?" she whispered. His jaw tightened. "My daughter. She died." She blinked. "How?" He didn't answer right away. His eyes flicked to the floorboards. "They said it was an accident." "I know better." The silence stretched, tense, heavy with memory. "Why didn't anyone stop them?" she asked softly. "Because no one cared," he said. Her hands shook as she moved toward the kitchen counter. I don't know how to be here," she admitted. "Then don't," he said. I feel like I'm too small to matter, too broken." He shook his head. "You're not broken. You just haven't been seen." She turned, meeting his gaze. "Seen by who?" "Anyone who could have helped," he said. "Anyone who mattered." "Not them. Not now." She chewed her lip, unsure what to say. The quiet pressed in again, almost suffocating, until he broke it. "Eat something. You'll need strength." She hesitated, then took the plate he placed before her. The food was simple bread, cheese, a few slices of cold meat, but it smelled of warmth and care. She picked at it. "Why do you even care?" she asked. "Why would anyone care?" He watched her closely. "Because I remember what it's like not to have someone." She looked down at the plate, her fingers trembling. "And you're supposed to be that someone?" "I don't claim it. I just show up," he said. She nodded slowly, taking in his words, letting them settle. The chair beneath her creaked as she shifted. The house was quiet, save for the wind outside rattling the windows and the faint whistle of trees scraping against each other. She noticed a door slightly ajar in the corner, half hidden in shadow. "What's behind there?" she asked. He didn't move toward it. "Memories. Best left alone," he said. She stared at him. "You keep everything hidden, don't you?" He shrugged. "Some things you bury. Some things you protect. Same difference." Her eyes dropped to the floor, tracing cracks in the wood. She pressed her palm against the chair, feeling its solidity, its permanence. "I don't want to be invisible anymore," she said softly. He didn't answer at first. Then he spoke quietly. "You never were. You just didn't know it." She looked up, startled by the certainty in his voice. "Even then?" "Especially then," he said. She chewed the inside of her cheek, a small, nervous habit. "I don't know how to do any of this. Be here. Live here." "You'll learn," he said. "Step by step. One piece at a time. And I'll be here, quiet if you need silence, loud if you need truth." She swallowed, nodding. The weight of his words pressed in, unfamiliar and grounding at once. The wind rose outside, carrying a faint scent of charred wood from the barn. She flinched. "It still smells like fire," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "And it always will. Fire remembers what men forget." She traced her finger along the back of the chair, looking at the dustless wood. "Do you ever think about her?" she asked, voice almost breaking. "Every day," he said. "But thinking won't bring her back." She nodded slowly, understanding the weight of absence in the room. For the first time since the auction, she felt a small shift, almost imperceptible, but real. She let her hands rest in her lap. "I don't want to be a ghost anymore," she said. "Then start living," he said. She looked at him, really looked at him, and for a moment, she didn't feel small. She felt cautious, aware, but present. "I'm going to try," she said. He nodded once, sharply, approving. Outside, the sun dropped low, casting the house in muted shadows, and the burned barn at the edge of the property caught the last glow of the day. She finally exhaled, a long, shaky breath. "I'll stay," she whispered. "Good," he said. "For now." The plate of food sat half-eaten in front of her, the coat still draped over her shoulders, the chair solid beneath her. The room was still, the silence patient, holding them both. She looked at him, then at the chair again, tracing the worn wood. "I don't understand all of it," she admitted. "You don't have to," he said. "You just have to be here." And in that, fragile as it was, she understood the first rule of survival: someone had to notice you, and she had, finally, been seen. The sun had dipped low when the knock came at the door, sharp enough to make the girl flinch. She gripped the chair, coat pulled tight, and the rancher's hand hovered at the latch of his rifle. "Who is it?" he called. The sheriff stepped inside before she could answer, badge glinting dully in the fading light. "Evening," he said. "You back already?" The rancher didn't move. "We need to talk," he said, voice calm, deliberate. The girl kept her eyes on him, noting the way his hand rested near the doorframe, fingers twitching, ready. "You bought trouble," the sheriff said, stepping closer. "I paid for silence," the rancher replied. "You don't own silence," the sheriff shot back. Try me, the rancher said, and his jaw tightened. She watched, silent, her stomach twisting. You know what this means, don't you? The sheriff said, voice low. No, the rancher said. You'll ruin yourself for her. She's not yours to ruin, the rancher said, stepping closer. The sheriff smirked, hand twitching near his gun. She belonged to debts. Families. Men who understand value. And now, the rancher asked. Now she belongs to nothing but herself, the girl said suddenly, voice sharp. The sheriff's smirk faltered. You were property, he spat. Not anymore, she said. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. You think stopping one auction changes anything? It changes her, the rancher said. The girl didn't look away. It changes everything, she added. The sheriff's hand dropped to his belt. You can't just, the rancher cut him off, voice low but firm. Leave. The sheriff stared, calculating, the room holding its breath. Then he backed toward the door. This isn't over, he said. The rancher's gaze didn't waver. It never is, he said. The girl exhaled slowly, relief mingled with fear. Why'd you do it? She asked. He leaned against the table, folding his arms. Because no one saved mine. She flinched, recognizing a shadow she didn't understand. Your daughter? Yes, he said. She's gone. I couldn't save her. But I can try to save you. She pressed her palms together, swallowing. And if they come again? They will, he said. But we'll be ready. She looked down at her hands, small and bruised, and felt a strange surge of determination. The sheriff had left, but his presence lingered like a stain in the room. The girl stood, moving to a shelf. She found old letters, yellowed and brittle, tucked behind books. She pulled one free, scanning the handwriting. He came here too, she said, voice trembling. The rancher stepped closer. Who? She asked. Men, he said. Powerful men. Before him. Before now. They visited, checked the property, made threats. She held the letter out. I knew it wasn't just me. They came for her too. The rancher's jaw clenched. We'll find out everything, he said. Outside, the wind carried the faint smell of the burned barn, lingering like a ghost. Do you think I can fight back? She asked. He studied her, eyes dark but patient. You don't fight with guns first, he said. You fight with knowing, with seeing. The rest comes later. She nodded, gripping the letter tightly. I want to know, she said. Then we start now. The evening deepened, shadows creeping across the walls. The girl moved toward the empty chair again, touching it lightly. She sat here? Yes, he said. Every day. Every night. Until she left. She traced the smooth wood with her fingers, imagining the weight it had held, imagining the girl who had once been protected, then lost. I don't want to be lost, she whispered. You won't be, he said. Not if you stay awake, alert, and alive. Not if you remember. The room felt heavier, suffused with quiet understanding. They both knew the sheriff's threat wasn't empty, the men behind him were patient and cruel. We can't just wait, she said. I know, he replied. But we need a plan. Evidence. Names. Records. Anything that ties them to their crimes. She glanced at the old ledger lying on the desk. The auctions, she said. Every single one. He nodded, eyes sharp. Every girl they sold, every debt they collected. It's all there. And we'll use it. The wind rattled the windows. Shadows danced across the floorboards. They'll come for us again, she said. They will, he said. But now they know we see them. And that changes everything. She swallowed, feeling the weight of courage settle into her chest. She had survived the auction, survived the road here, survived the house filled with memory and fire. Now, she realized, she could survive what came next. He moved to the door, checking the latch. "Sleep lightly," he said. "And keep the letters close." She nodded, gripping the stack in her hands. "I will," she said. "And I'll stand if they come," she added, more firmly this time. He looked at her, a flicker of pride in his eyes. "Good," he said. "Because they will. But tonight, we rest. Tomorrow, we start unraveling everything." She sat back in the empty chair, the letters clutched to her chest. Outside, the burned barn waited in silence, the last glow of the day casting black shadows against the walls. Inside, the house held them, fragile and haunted, but alive. She exhaled slowly, letting the weight of the day settle. They had survived the auction, survived the sheriff, survived the first touch of danger. And now, with the rancher at her side and the letters in her hands, she realized the fight wasn't just theirs, it was hers too. The next morning, the girl led him behind the burned barn, hands gripping the stack of old letters like a shield. The rancher's boots crunched against the scorched earth. "You really want to do this?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "We need to know. We can't just leave it buried." The charred timbers leaned like broken spines, blackened wood jagged against the pale sky. Smoke still curled from hidden embers. She knelt at the well, half buried in ash and debris, and traced the top edge with a trembling hand. "Why cover it?" she asked. He didn't answer immediately. "Because I couldn't bear to look," he said finally. Her fingers pried at the boards, splinters biting her palms. "It smells like someone left too fast," she said. "Or they didn't care to return." The rancher crouched beside her. "Be careful," he said. "Don't let the past swallow you." She glanced up. "You think it already has?" He didn't answer. The silence stretched, heavy, almost alive. She worked at the planks, prying and tugging, until one came loose. Ash rose in a small cloud. Her stomach twisted. She saw fragments of burned cloth and a small, twisted locket. Her hands froze. He leaned closer, voice low. "Do you see it?" "Yes," she whispered, choking on the words. "It's her." The rancher's jaw clenched. "I know," he said. "They burned her." "Not the barn." Horror. She swallowed hard, stomach lurching. "Why didn't you tell me?" He shook his head. "I couldn't. I had to hope you'd survive long enough to understand." She dropped to her knees fully, brushing ash from the locket. She was real. And he placed a hand on her shoulder. "I know. You're safe now. And we'll make them see it." The wind carried faint echoes of the auction, of the sheriff's threats, of men laughing at things they didn't understand. She held the locket tightly. "We have proof now," she said. "The letters, the well," he nodded. "But it's more than that. It's memory. Evidence they can't erase." Her jaw tightened. "We show the town?" "Not yet," he said. "First we gather. Names, faces, every ledger entry we can find. Then we make them remember." Her gaze fell to the ashes. "Do you think they'll come for me?" "They will," he said. "But not today. Today, we dig." They worked side by side, unearthing pieces of wood, charred fabric, and small trinkets buried under ash. Her hands grew raw, but she didn't stop. "Why do you let me do this?" she asked. "Because you need to see it. Because you need to feel the weight. If you can face this, you can face anything." She looked up at him, eyes wide. "And if I can't?" He leaned down, holding her gaze. "Then I'll carry you." "But you will." "I know it." She swallowed hard, tears stinging her eyes. It hurts, she said quietly. I know. I feel guilty, she said. Like I should have stopped it before. It wasn't your fault, he said, voice low, steady. No one could have. She shook her head. Yes. I could have. Maybe. He reached out, brushing ash from her hair. You're here now. That's what matters. She exhaled shakily. The weight of grief pressed on her chest, but he didn't let her fall into it. After what felt like hours, they stepped back. The well was cleared, its depth revealed, charred remnants of the past staring up at them. She held the locket, small and fragile, and whispered, she deserved better. She did, he said. And we'll make sure no one forgets. Her hands trembled, but she didn't drop it. We can't just leave her here, she said. No. We take her memory with us, he said. And we use it. The sky darkened, wind rattling the broken barn timbers. It's heavy, she said. It always will be, he said. But heavy can be a guide, not a chain. She looked at him, hesitant. Are you sure I'm ready for this? You've already begun, he said. And we'll finish it together. The well, the ash, the locket, they were symbols now. Pieces of a past that had tried to swallow them both. But they were standing, together, unbroken, ready. She tucked the locket into her coat, brushing ash from her hands. I won't let them erase her, she said. And you won't, he replied. We make sure every ledger, every name, every story gets told. Every girl counts. She nodded slowly, feeling the first real sense of control since the auction. The ranch, the burned barn, the well, it all pressed around them, heavy and full of memory, but not suffocating. She exhaled, letting the weight settle just enough to breathe. They walked back to the house together, shoulders close, silence between them no longer empty. Tomorrow, she said, voice quiet but firm. Tomorrow we begin. He nodded. Tomorrow we start unraveling everything. The wind carried the faint smell of smoke, of ash. Of a past neither could forget. And in that moment, she felt something else, the first fragile taste of hope, anchored in the memory of what they had unearthed. The morning light was pale and cold, spilling across the corral. The girl stood beside the horse, hands clasped tightly, watching its flanks ripple with each breath. You ready? The rancher asked. She shook her head. I don't know how. He didn't answer, just held out the reins. Then you learn, he said. The words weren't cruel, but they carried weight. She hesitated, legs trembling, then slipped onto the saddle. The horse snorted and stamped. Easy, the rancher said. You're gripping too tight. I'm scared, she admitted. Good, he said. Fear keeps you alive. Don't fight it, use it. She exhaled shakily, pressing her knees to the horse. What if I fall? Then you get up. That's all there is to it. The horse bolted before she could stop it. She screamed, claws gripping the leather. He ran beside her, voice sharp. Relax. Don't stiffen. Her chest heaved. It's too fast. It's supposed to be fast. You move with it, not against it. Sweat stung her eyes. She blinked, swallowing panic, letting the reins shift in her hands. The horse slowed, obedient to his voice. Good, he said, letting her wobble slightly before steadying her. She exhaled, legs shaking. Am I doing it right? Better than right. You're alive. They rode in tight circles at first, his voice constant. Look where you're going, not down. Breathe. Feel the rhythm. I can't, she shouted. Yes, you can, he barked. She gasped, chest tight, heart hammering. Again, he said. Again and again. Until you're not afraid. She nodded, mouth dry, and pressed her heels into the horse. The animal moved, swaying with her, and slowly she began to feel the motion rather than resist it. Her stomach tightened, then loosened. Her hands steadied on the reins. She didn't smile, not yet, but her breathing slowed. "Better," he said. "Much better." After what felt like hours, she slid off the horse, knees weak. "I'm exhausted," she said. He shook his head. "Not yet. Now, shooting." Her eyes widened. "I don't know how." "You know how to point. You know how to aim. Fear and truth do the rest." He handed her a rifle. She held it awkwardly, shaking. "Aim with truth," he said. "Not anger." "And if truth doesn't work?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Then you shoot anyway. But don't waste your anger." She aimed at the target he set a few paces away, fingers tight on the trigger. The first shot went wide. "Again," he said. Her stomach twisted, nerves taut. Second shot hit the edge. Third, near center. "Good," he said. "Better. You're learning." She wiped sweat from her brow. "I never thought I'd be capable of this." He didn't answer immediately. "You've been capable all along. You just didn't know it. Fear and silence can hide strength. Now you see it." She swallowed, looking at him, feeling a flicker of pride in herself for the first time in years. "I'm stronger than I thought," she admitted. He nodded once. "You will be stronger still." They rode back toward the barn, the wind cold on their faces. "Tomorrow," she said, voice quiet but firm. "Tomorrow we ride further?" "Yes," he said. "And you'll carry yourself with more than just fear." She nodded, gripping the reins tightly, letting the rhythm of the horse steady her. Each step, each movement, was a small victory. Each one chipped away at the weight she'd carried since the auction. After the ride, she stood at the barn door, breathing hard, heart hammering. "You're not done yet," he said. "Not by a long shot. But today, you learned to move with the fear instead of against it." She swallowed, letting his words sink in. "I think I can do it," she said. "You can," he said. "You'll need it. There are worse things waiting than a frightened horse." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm ready." "No," he said. "But we go anyway. Ready enough is enough." She nodded, chest tight with resolve. Later, inside the house, she sat at the empty chair, coat damp with sweat. The locket rested in her lap, letters stacked beside her. She traced the worn wood with trembling fingers, thinking of the girl who had sat here before her. She had survived the auction. She had faced the well. She had faced the horse and the rifle. Fear had not defeated her. It had sharpened her. She let out a shaky breath, eyes meeting the rancher's. "I did it," she said softly. "Yes," he said. "You did. And tomorrow, we push further. You'll ride farther, shoot straighter, stand taller. Every day, a little more." She exhaled, letting herself feel a fraction of pride. Outside, the wind whispered across the burned barn, carrying the scent of ash and smoke, a reminder that the past was always near. But she was here, alive, capable. And for the first time, she felt like she could face what came next. The girl carried the stack of letters and led him to the small loft at the edge of the barn. Dust motes danced in the morning sun. "This is it?" she asked, voice low. "Yes," he said. "Every name. Every transaction. Every girl." She set the letters on the rough wooden table, frowning at the careful handwriting. "They recorded everything?" "In plain sight," he said. "They just didn't expect anyone to survive, to remember, to read it." She ran her fingers across the pages, shivering. "And this is the governor?" The rancher nodded. The ledger holds proof. Every auction, every favor, every man who signed his name. She glanced at him, eyes wide. We can take him down? He shrugged. We can. If we're clever, patient, and careful. And lucky. She swallowed hard. I'm not lucky, she said. You were born lucky, he said. You just didn't know it. You survived the auction, survived the road, survived me. That's luck enough. Her lips pressed together, hesitant, and she turned back to the ledger. The names stretched across pages, neat and deliberate. Men she had glimpsed in town, men in suits, men with badges, everyone tied to girls she could barely imagine. A knock came at the barn door. She stiffened, heart hammering. Who is it? He called. The sheriff's voice carried across the yard. Morning. Thought I'd see how my little problem is doing. The rancher's hand went to the rifle. He's not your problem, he said. She stepped back, instinctive, eyes wide. The sheriff leaned against the doorway, smirked tight. Seems she's learning fast, he said, nodding toward her. And you're teaching her, he said. Careful. You might create a monster. She's learning, the rancher said. Not becoming one. Big difference. The girl spoke before she could stop herself. I won't be afraid anymore. Her voice cracked, but it carried. The sheriff's eyes flicked to her. Bold, he said. Too bold for her own good. She's not yours to judge, the rancher said. I told you. Leave. The sheriff's smirk tightened. We'll see about that. He tipped his hat, stepping back, letting the threat linger in the shadows of the barn. The rancher exhaled, letting the tension slip slightly. They'll keep coming, he said. But now we have a weapon they can't ignore. She turned back to the ledger, running her finger down a long list of names. Every name is here, she whispered. Every signature, every debt, every girl. This is it. He nodded. Proof. Evidence. Justice waiting to happen. But we need a plan. She looked up at him. I'm ready. What now? He leaned over the table. We map it. Every auction, every man involved. The sheriff, the governor, every accomplice. Then we strike. Publicly, legally, in a way they can't silence. Her stomach twisted. Legally? Yes, he said. But carefully. The law protects men like him, if they're clever. We'll have to be smarter. She flipped the pages, scanning handwriting she barely recognized. The ledger was heavy with greed, cruelty, and neglect, but also possibility. They thought no one would remember, she said. But we do. Exactly, he said. And now you see how dangerous silence can be. Her fingers traced a signature she recognized from town, a man who had smiled at her during the auction. I saw him, she whispered. He thought I was nothing. And now, he asked. Now I'm going to make sure he remembers me, she said, voice shaking but fierce. The wind rattled the barn's loose boards, carrying the scent of ash from the burned timbers. Every name matters, he said. Every girl counts. She nodded, swallowing. I won't let them erase this. Good, he said. Because they'll try. But they won't succeed, not if we're careful. She closed the ledger, setting it on the table. We begin tonight? Tomorrow morning, he said. Tonight, we prepare. Rest. Eat. Ride lightly. Tomorrow, we start building the map, connecting the dots. And when we're ready, we show the world. She looked at him, eyes fierce and unwavering. I'm not afraid of them anymore, she said. He studied her for a long moment. Good, he said. because fear is what they want. They trade on it. But you trade on truth. Remember that. She nodded, placing her hands over the ledger. I understand. He stepped back, letting her hold the weight, letting her feel the power of knowledge. Outside, the barn swayed in the wind, shadows stretching across the dirt floor like fingers. For the first time since the auction, she felt a small sense of control, fragile but real. We can do this, she said quietly. We have to, he said. Because if we don't, nothing changes. And girls will keep disappearing, auctions will keep happening, and men like him will laugh. She nodded, gripping the ledger tightly. Then we make them see, she said. All of them. The rancher's jaw tightened. Exactly. All of them. And no one can stop us once we start. The sun dipped behind the hills, spilling the barn with fading light. Shadows pulled around the edges, but inside, the girl and the rancher stood together, armed not with guns yet, but with knowledge, strategy, and a fragile hope. The ledger lay open, a heavy weight of truth. Outside, the world waited, dangerous and indifferent. Inside, they had begun the first real step toward justice. The sheriff, the governor, every man who had ever thought them powerless, they would all learn the same lesson. She was no longer silent. The loft smelled of dust and old paper. The girl spread the letters across the table, each one a tangle of signatures, dates, and careful handwriting. They thought no one would read this, she said. They underestimated us. The rancher leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, eyes dark. They always do, he said. Egos like theirs never account for survivors. She picked up a letter, the edges frayed and yellowed. This one, it's from the governor himself. He signed it. Her voice trembled. Every auction, every transaction, he knew. The rancher stepped closer, voice low. And that's why it's dangerous. He's clever, he covers his tracks. But clever men leave patterns. We just have to find them. She nodded, scanning the pages quickly. Look at this. Dates, towns, amounts, it's all systematic. Exactly, he said. Every girl, every family, every favor. It's all tied together. One thread pulls the rest. She frowned. And the sheriff? He's just part of it. Part of it, he said. And greedy men never stay loyal for long. They'll slip. We wait for it. She paused, tracing a signature she recognized from the auction. He smiled at me, she whispered. He thought I was nothing. The rancher shook his head. They all do. Until you remember them. She clenched her fists. Then we make them pay? Justice first. Revenge second, if it comes, he said, eyes hard. She nodded, absorbing the weight of it. I never thought I'd be part of something like this, she admitted. I just wanted to survive. Survival is the first step, he said. Next is understanding. And you're learning fast. She looked up, eyes wary. And if I make a mistake? Then you learn, he said simply. They can't hurt what they can't touch. Letters can't hurt you. Memory can't hurt you unless you let it. She swallowed, tracing a signature again. Every name, every debt, it's overwhelming. He knelt beside her. It's supposed to be. But this weight, it can be power too. Knowledge is sharper than any gun. A shadow fell across the table. She looked up. What now? She asked. We verify, he said. Every letter, every ledger, every scrap. Cross-reference with town records, auctions, personal accounts. We build a map of their lives. And the letters themselves, she asked. We use them as proof, he said. Letters show intent. Signatures show responsibility. Lies crumble when confronted with facts. Her stomach twisted. "It's like unmasking ghosts," she said. "Yes," he said. "But these ghosts have names, addresses, faces. And we'll make them accountable." Hours passed as they worked, scanning, sorting, matching names. She kept asking questions, each one sharper than the last. Why didn't anyone stop them? Because no one wanted to, he said. They feared them or benefited from them. Power protects itself. She shook her head. I can't believe the town let this happen. Most people don't want to believe evil exists, he said. They turn away. But you face it. That's why you survived. She paused at a set of letters, stacked carefully, identical in format. They all lie the same way, she said. Same excuses, same handwriting. They covered for each other. He nodded. Exactly. That's the pattern. That's the map. And that's what we follow. Her hands trembled as she lifted the top letter. So if we follow this, we can stop them? We don't stop yet, he said. We gather. We prepare. We build a case so strong they can't deny it. Her jaw tightened. And then? Then we let the law, and truth, do its work, he said. And we make sure no one forgets. The wind rattled the barn boards, faintly carrying the scent of ash from the burned timbers outside. She placed the letter down, fingers lingering over the signature. I feel like I can finally see everything, she said. And you can, he said. That's why we started this. To turn knowledge into power. Fear into action. She nodded slowly, letting the realization settle. I'm not just surviving anymore, she said. I'm participating. I have to. He reached out, placing a hand lightly on hers. Good. You're ready. Not for the fight yet. But for the reckoning. That comes soon. She looked up at him, meeting his gaze. I'm ready for that too. He didn't answer. He just nodded, letting her hold the weight of the letters, the ledger, and the knowledge they contained. Outside, the barn shifted in the wind. Shadows stretched long and dark. Inside, they worked together, quiet and determined, unraveling the lies one letter at a time, until the sun dipped low and the first stars appeared. For the first time since the auction, she felt the burden of memory and fear transforming into purpose. Every signature, every ledger, every lie they uncovered was fuel. Fuel to survive. Fuel to fight. Fuel to make men who thought themselves untouchable remember a girl they once believed they could break. She exhaled, setting the letters neatly in a stack. Tomorrow, she said. Tomorrow we start mapping them. Yes, he said. And after that, nothing can stand in our way. The barn smelled of smoke before she even saw the flames. A small fire had started in one corner, crackling and blackening the timber. The rancher grabbed her arm. Stay back, he said, eyes sharp. She shook her head. No. I can do this. I need to see it through. He studied her for a moment, jaw tight, then nodded. Then stay close, move steady, and keep your eyes open. She nodded, heart hammering, stomach tight. Fear surged, but this time she welcomed it. They moved closer. The fire wasn't large yet, but it spread fast, licking at the beams that had survived the first burn. Why here? She asked, voice low. They're testing us, he said. Making sure we flinch. Making sure we remember what fear feels like. She exhaled shakily. Then we don't flinch. Exactly, he said. Her hands shook, but she gripped the letters she had carried, pressing them to her chest like armor. From the shadows, the sheriff stepped out. I see you found my little welcome, he said. His hand rested casually on his belt. Welcome doesn't burn barns, the rancher said. But threats do. She stepped forward, voice firm. We're not afraid of you." The sheriff's eyes flicked to her, a smile tightening at the edges. "Bold," he said. "Too bold for a girl who just learned to survive." "I'm not just surviving," she said. "I'm remembering. And we're witnessing. Everything you try to hide will be seen." The sheriff's smirk faltered, just slightly. The fire spread faster. Sparks drifted toward the letters stacked on the table. She lunged, grabbing the papers, holding them above the flames. "Careful," the rancher shouted. She froze, heart hammering, feeling the heat. "It's okay," she whispered. "I've got this." She pressed the stack to her chest, moving backward slowly, eyes on the sheriff. "Every ledger, every letter, every signature gone if you touch me," she said. The sheriff's hand twitched near his gun. "You're bold," he said. "Dangerously so." "I'm not alone," she said. The rancher stepped beside her, rifle ready. "And you're running out of options," he added. The sheriff's lips tightened. "We'll see," he said, stepping back, calculating. The fire cast dancing shadows across his face, highlighting the lines of arrogance and greed. She pressed the letters to her chest again, feeling the weight of memory, truth, and vengeance. Suddenly, a wind gusted through the barn, flaring the flames higher. Sparks hit the floorboards. She swallowed hard. "We have to get out," he said. "Not yet," she said. "I need them to see this. Every flame, every shadow. They'll remember what they tried to burn." He nodded slowly. "Then we witness. But stay alert." She stepped forward, holding the letters high, letting the fire illuminate them. "Everything you've hidden," she said, voice ringing, "everything you've stolen, every girl you've erased, we remember. And everyone will see." The sheriff's eyes flicked to the letters, the fire, the rancher, and then to her. His hand dropped slightly, uncertainty creeping in. "You think the town will care?" he asked. "They will," she said. "If we show them the truth. Every ledger, every signature, every lie, they'll have no choice." The rancher moved beside her, steady, unwavering. "We'll get every witness, every document, every hidden record. And we'll make sure the world sees it. They can't erase what's witnessed." She exhaled, trembling. "I feel powerful," she whispered. "Not just because of the fire," he said. "Because you survived it. And now you own it. Fear is gone. Memory is yours. Witnessing it makes it real." The sheriff finally stepped back fully, shadows of doubt creeping across his face. "You're dangerous," he said. "Maybe," she said, voice calm. "But only because you made me this way." Sparks drifted past her face, hair catching a faint shimmer of light. The fire roared, but she stood firm, holding the letters above it. The rancher's hand rested lightly on her shoulder, grounding her. "Witness everything," he said. "Learn everything. Then act. That's your power." The barn smoldered around them, smoke curling into the sky. Outside, the wind carried the scent of ash and smoke, a reminder of what had been lost and what could not be forgotten. She exhaled, letting the heat and fear settle into something new, resolve. Every ledger, every signature, every girl's memory was safe because she had seen it, held it, and survived it. The fire was witness, the letters were proof, and the sheriff now knew that she, the girl he thought powerless, was unbreakable. They stepped back from the blaze together, letters safe, eyes sharp, hearts pounding. "Tomorrow," she said, voice firm. "Tomorrow we follow the threads. Every name. Every ledger. Every lie." "Yes," he said. "And from the ashes, we'll start building justice. Not just for her, for every girl he tried to erase." She nodded, feeling the first real taste of clarity. Fear had taught her nothing. Witnessing, surviving, and holding truth, that was power. Night had fallen, thick and dark, pressing against the walls of the barn. The girl crouched beside the stack of letters, the ledger open on the table. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, voice low. The rancher leaned against the doorway, rifle across his chest, eyes sharp. "Yes," he said. "Tonight, we act. No hesitation. No mercy for lies." She swallowed, tracing a signature with her finger. "Every name," she whispered. "Every girl." He nodded. "Every name. Every ledger. Every man who thought he could hide behind badges, offices, and money. They can't escape what we've seen." She gripped the ledger tightly, feeling its weight in her hands. "And if the sheriff comes back?" He stepped closer. "Then we face him. Just like before. But focus on the ledger. That's our power." She nodded, swallowing hard, stomach tight with fear and anticipation. The barn door creaked. She flinched. The rancher motioned for her to stay low. Shadows stretched across the floorboards as a man's footsteps echoed outside. "Who's there?" the rancher called. Silence. Then a faint retreat. "Scouting," he said. "They know something's happening. That's why it has to be tonight." She nodded, gripping the ledger tighter. "I can do this," she said quietly. "I have to." He guided her to the horse tied just outside. "We move fast. Every town, every contact, every name must see the ledger tonight. Letters, signatures, evidence. Spread it where it counts. No mistakes." She climbed onto the saddle, trembling, but determined. "And you?" she asked. "I'll follow. Protect if necessary. But you're leading this." She exhaled, nodding. The wind carried the faint scent of ash from the burned barn, mingling with the night's chill. It reminded her of everything they had survived and everything still at stake. They moved silently through the town, stopping first at the old post office. She left copies of letters in pigeonholes, careful and precise. "This one's for the mayor," she whispered. "And this for the council." The rancher watched, quiet, letting her take the lead. Every name, she reminded herself, tracing the letters one last time. She left a copy for the sheriff too, slipping it under the door. "He'll know we're coming," she said. "He already knows," he said. "But tonight, he's just a shadow. Focus on the ledger." Hours passed in stealth and whispers. They moved from office to office, home to home, leaving evidence where it would be seen but not destroyed. Each signature, each ledger entry, was a blow to the network built on lies and fear. She paused at one house, hands trembling. "I can't believe I'm doing this," she said. "Believe it," he said. "You survived the auction. You survived the well. You survived the fire. This is just another step." She exhaled shakily and dropped the letters into the mailbox. By the time they returned to the barn, the first hints of dawn colored the horizon. She dismounted, legs weak, chest tight. "Did it work?" she asked. "We'll see," he said. "But you did it. You carried every name, every girl, every ledger. You led this night. That's proof enough." She sank into the chair, exhausted but burning with purpose. "I can't go back," she said softly. "I won't go back." "You won't," he said. "You've moved past survival. You're shaping what comes next." The wind shifted, carrying a faint smell of smoke and ash. She looked at him. "They'll retaliate," she said. "Yes," he said. "But they won't expect this. They won't expect a girl who's seen everything, survived everything, and is willing to act." She nodded, chest tight with a mix of fear and power. "I feel alive," she admitted. "Not just alive," he said. "Aware. Focused. Dangerous to them. That's real strength." They spent the rest of the morning quietly, watching shadows stretch across the barn floor, letters stacked and ledger open. The town would wake soon. Men who thought themselves untouchable would begin to see that nothing was hidden. "Every signature matters," she said. "Every lie we expose counts." He nodded. "Exactly. And tonight, you've shown them what happens when someone remembers. When someone witnesses." She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the weight of the night settle. She had carried the ledger through shadows and fear, had spread it where it could not be ignored, had stared down threats she had once believed insurmountable. And she had survived. For the first time since the auction, she felt unshakable. She exhaled slowly. "It's not over," she said. "No," he said. "But it's a start. And you let it." Outside, the sun began to rise, spilling pale gold across the burned barn and the quiet town beyond. Smoke from the previous fire mingled with the morning mist, a reminder that the past could never be forgotten, only confronted. She opened her eyes, hands resting on the ledger. "We start the reckoning today," she said. "Yes," he said. "And this time, we control it. Every name, every ledger, every witness. Nothing escapes us now." She stood, brushing ash from her hands, shoulders steady, eyes sharp. "I'm ready," she said. "For everything that comes." He nodded, a rare flicker of pride in his eyes. "Good," he said. "Because it's coming. And now, you'll meet it head on. Not as a victim, not as a girl to be saved, but as someone who sees, someone who remembers, someone who acts. Someone they can't break." She clutched the ledger to her chest, feeling the weight of memory, truth, and power. Dawn spilled over the hills. The sheriff, the governor, every man who had ever thought her powerless, tonight, they would begin to understand she was anything but.